Hi guys, welcome back to another edition of Max and Nicky 1000th Time Reactions,
where we react to a song after listening to it for our 1000th time.
We release 3 videos a day.
Every day.
So please hit that subscribe button.
And turn on post notifications.
So you don't miss out on all this great content. What are you going to listen to right now, Nicky?
We're going to listen to Rosanna by Toto. We've heard this song many, many times. It's a classic. Won Record of the Year at the Grammys. So... but
anyway,
if you're
we can to get into that.
If you're new
later.
to the channel, what we do on here is we listen to a song all the way through without pausing, and then after that, that's when we go in depth and into an analysis about the song and talk about our reaction to it.
That's right. Before we listen to the song, though, as we normally do, we'd like to mention that we have another YouTube channel called Max and Nicky,
on which we perform oldies, tunes, jazz standards, and originals in that vein.
And we got comedy videos on there as well, if you're interested. But for right now, let's take a listen to Rosanna. Joanna's, by
Kool and the Gang.
Kool and the Gang. And also there's a song, Joanna, from Sweeney Todd. But we're going to listen to Rosanna by Toto.
For our 1000th time.
Here we go.
Could ever care for me, Rosanna. All I wanna do in the middle of the evening is hold you tight, Rosanna, Rosanna. I didn't know you were looking for more than I could ever be. Not quite a year since she went away, Rosanna. Still shining through the window on the other side, Rosanna, Rosanna. I didn't know that a girl like you could make me feel so sad, Rosanna. Now she's gone, and I have to say, meet you all the way, meet you all the way, Rosanna, yeah, meet you all the way, meet you all the way.
Man, Steve
man, Steve
Lukather on
Lukather
that.
just wailing
He's
in it.
wailing. He's such a good guitarist.
ripping on the guitar.
I mean,
there.
everybody in this band was
really just consummate
top-notch
musicians, top-notch musicians.
I mean, they were all session
Wait,
musicians.
is this a longer? Is this
No, this is how it is.
no? But whenever they play it on the radio, did they always play that end there?
That's how I've always heard it.
Really? Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Anyway,
I don't know. It's
you
been a
know,
while.
first of all, I want to say that the band members of most of the band members of Toto, they went to our high school, actually.
That's true.
They went to our high school, and so did Tom Selleck.
Okay, sure.
Which is funny.
Well, anyway, with that said, though, there's a lot going on in the song. I mean,
Well, first of all, it starts off with that what they call a Purdy shuffle, or it's Jeff Porcaro's take on a Purdy shuffle, which is the where he's got a lot of ghost notes going on as well. It was like Jeff Porcaro, who's the drummer, he kind of added some kind of extra stuff to what was called the Purdy shuffle, which was Bernard Purdy was a very famous drummer and I believe session musician. And so it starts off with that, which is already really cool. But the drums are so clear and present in this song.
sure. The one thing that is not as present at times, I mean, I could hear it for sure very clearly at times, but there were sometimes there was the bass seems to, there's so much going on. I do feel like once in a while, unless it's just playing kind of just, the anchored notes kind of, maybe that's why.
I felt like on the solos, I'm sorry, on the choruses, you really hear the bass very well.
Well, no, there was just some times when like all the horn, like everything's coming. I mean, that was cool though. There were a lot of these horns, and sometimes, obviously you heard some parts where the horns are very clear, where kind of those parts. But there are other parts when it was just kind of, they're just kind of creeping in a little bit. And sometimes you would hear sort of, I think it almost might have even been some bari sax in there as well, kind of on the low end.
Baritone saxophone.
Yeah.
But I heard the bass pretty well. That's David Huntsgate on the bass, by the way.
There's a recording or a video of some people. It might have been at a radio station or something where they solo each channel of this song. So you hear each musician's parts, and they just break it down and show how great musicians each of these people are. Actually,
you hear the vocals,
show what they're exactly
doing. There are
doing.
two lead vocalists on here. It's Steve Lukather's singing the lower parts, and Bobby Kimball, I think, is singing the higher parts. And pardon, you can hear how in tune these guys were. I mean, Bobby Kimball singing these high notes. It's like no auto-tune there, guys. No tuning of the vocals there. It's all natural, and he's really great vocalist.
That's right. Although I was looking it up, I'm not sure when it was invented, but there was a way back in the day. It was a lot harder.
You're absolutely correct,
for
Max.
people to tune vocals. Actually, they didn't have auto tune.
You're absolutely correct.
But there was a way, and I forgot the thing what it was called. It might have been made in the 70s even actually, but. I mean, they would rarely use it because it was a lot harder to deal with.
Well, I was watching a video just earlier today, actually, Max, about this, that when Duran Duran was doing the album Rio, they brought the album to another guy to remix it in Los Angeles. Can't remember what his name is. And he did some tuning work on Simon Le Bon's vocals because... they're talking about how, Simon Le Bon was very much a perfectionist in the studio with trying to get things exactly in tune. But they couldn't punch in things as much back then. They didn't have the ability to, or the resources to. And so they had to play tracks all the way through, and they just had to take the best ones, essentially, And so there were a couple times on that album where they had to tune Simon Le Bon's vocals, but it wasn't auto-tune. It was a specific way they did. I don't know exactly.
It was a manual tuner.
Right.
It wasn't auto-tuning. It was manual tuning. But there was a way, but it was a lot harder, and not a lot of people had the technology to do that. I'm sure a big production company could get their hands on it, but it just wasn't common practice, really.
Right.
But just so you know, I would say definitely in the late 80s and early 90s, even before, digital audio workstations were a normal thing, people might have been doing it, not might have
as much.
not frequently, but it might have happened at time.
And definitely you hear vocalists even from the 80s and 90s, you hear them go out of tune sometimes on recording.
Right, as you can hear, I mean,
even the greatest of them,
Yeah,
Whitney Houston, I think on The Greatest Love of All, you can hear her go a
so
little
it
out
just
of tune.
wasn't common practice. Nowadays, it's common practice to hear if it's out of tune. Sounds much more jarring in modern day. I mean, I know a lot of there's a
Anyway, we're going off topic.
We're going off topic.
But hey, as one YouTube
It doesn't sound jarring to
as
me.
one of our subscribers mentioned, please do go off topic.
Sure.
He likes it.
It doesn't sound jarring completely to me, but I guess in a modern production, it's rare to hear people. It's hard to. I haven't heard that in a while. I think
Well, anyway, what? Go out of tune?
Yeah, people
on a modern pop track.
on a modern pop track.
If
is
you
what I
hear
mean.
like some indie rock or alternative rock singers, Mac DeMarco, who's very good and very popular right now, or has been for the past, maybe 8 years, he goes out of tune sometimes, and it's okay if it's fitting,
Right. Well, actually, the aesthetic of his. I mean, well, anyway, we'll
He's more analog anyway, but
he records analog. He records
anyway,
on
but
tape, so.
we're really going off topic. This song it's filled with so many cool layers. I highly recommend checking that video out where they isolate. These people talk about each isolated track. It's very cool, and to see how the consummate these musicians are. Every one of them, this song is famously written about Rosanna Arquette, who was going out with, I think, Steve Porcaro at the time, if I'm not mistaken. One of the Porcaro brothers. She was going
Jeff
out with.
Porcaro was on the drums. Steve Porcaro was on.
He was the synthesizer.
synthesizer.
The synthesizer, by the way, that solo. Like
Sure,
that part is
really
really
cool
cool.
part, yeah.
It almost sounds like Mannheim Steamroller.
I was gonna say it sounds like a Mannheim Steamroller type of thing.
Right.
I'm not sure if there's.
It's
any
almost kind
Mannheim-
of ballsy of them to put that kind of thing in this kind of track that is more kind of a pop rock track.
Well,
but
it's definitely
it's
a pop
the
track,
80s, man.
It's a
They
pop
did
track.
all cool things, such cool things in the 80s,
Yeah. And then what was the other Porcaro brother?
Well, there's David Porcaro, who I think it's David Porcaro, who would join the band a little bit later when David Hunskey, who was the bassist, he left the band and he would replace him.
Okay.
I think his name is David Porcaro, if I'm not mistaken. But Jeff Porcaro, Steve Porcaro, you had Steve Lukather, lead guitarist, and you had David Paish and Bobby Kimball.
David Paish was on.
He was a keyboardist and pianist also, He's cool. The piano solo was really cool at the end there, too. It was trading maybe every 4 or 8 bars with the guitar and at the end there.
And there's just a lot of, again, a lot of small things happening. I mean, it's just a lot happening, and
You can tell why it won Record of the Year at the Grammys.
sure. It seems like just a lot went into this. I mean, those harmonies when those two singers are they're just so in tune with each other, Anyway,
great tune. I think that'll do it for this reaction video. If you like what you heard and saw today, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications to find out about more Max and Nicky reaction videos.
please keep tuning in.